Good evening, and tonight it's an FA Cup special, but more than that, we have on offer one of the most dramatic cup ties for years, and one that provoked a good deal of argument afterwards about its winner. So our lineup is Manchester United against Everton, in front of the biggest crowd of the season, over 58,000 at Old Trafford.
Stapleton, McQueen, right side. Well, that was a sensational save from Jim Arnold.
And Brighton against Norwich, with the biggest crowd of the season at the Goldstone Ground.
Stevens crossing, and Foster! Oh, what a brilliant stop!
Vladimir Petrovic produces the smiles and a standing ovation for Arsenal at Highbury. A Burnley penalty miss gives Sheffield Wednesday another chance, and in the league there's a hat-trick for Watford's Luther Blissett.
Now let's move on to our second match in the sixth round of the FA Cup, a day when Brighton and Norwich could both put their relegation worries behind them, a capacity crowd of 28,000 at the Goldstone Ground. Now the pictures come from TVS, and now our commentator is Gerald Sinstadt.
Norwich City move through the shadow, out into the sunshine of the Goldstone Ground. And down from East Anglia, a great mass of green and yellow-clad supporters of the Canaries. Tense moments in the tunnel as Brighton step into uncharted territory. Outside, a boisterous greeting for their first ever appearance in the sixth round of the FA Cup. Brighton have had the easier time with team selection. Their only doubt during the week has been the substitutes role, and that goes on the day to Scotsman Gordon Smith. Norwich have problems. Steve Walford suspended, Olga Haraider and Martin O'Neill both injured, so it's a very young lineup today, average age only 22. And a lot on the shoulders of Dick Simons, recalled last Saturday for his first game since last May. Nice short journey from Waterlooville in Hampshire for today's referee, Mr. Alan Robinson, and he welcomes that because he's just come back from 3 weeks in Kenya where he's been lecturing to referees. First kick of this sixth round FA Cup tie to Brighton, there in their all-blue strip. Norwich in yellow and green, and the first free kick of the game to Brighton. Seventh time the clubs have been drawn together in the FA Cup, and the records show 4 victories for Brighton and 2 for Norwich, so although on a couple of occasions they needed a replay. Here's Foster going in. Coming in behind him was Ritchie, but it didn't reach either of them, put out for a corner. 10 there is Jerry Ryan. Looking for Foster's head. Smiley couldn't swivel on it, but still Norwich can't get out of their own half. Now comes the possibility. Birchin going through the middle as the ball is played in by Mendham, played further on for Van Wyk. Smiley has gone with it. Downs. Norwich goal. Shaping for a long one. Instead to Downs. Chance to cross with the right foot, and it was a missed kick and cleared by Case. Free kick given, and Greg Downs is going to take it. Birchin. 2 in the middle. And a header out by Steve Gatting when Barham was coming in behind him at the far post. Corner being taken by Dave Bennett. Mass of players on the near post, and the corner wasted. Drifting behind the crossbar as Mosley came flying across his goal. Graham Mosley, the 3rd time this season that he's regained the goalkeeping jersey from Perry Digweed. Unmistakable figure of Steve Foster. It's Brighton 0, Norwich 0 in the 5th round of the FA Cup at the Goldstone Ground. And we have another free kick for offside. Robinson. It's not a bad ball. Tested Woods. He had to come out of his area and he's still in trouble. He was tempted twice to go for that with his hands. And when he eventually got it away for the long clearance upfield, it was yet another offside. Woods tempted to come for it. Eventually got in a header, thought about catching it, remembered he was out of his area, and eventually got it away. Grealish. Stevens crossing, and Foster! Oh, what a brilliant stop! That was Watson, and that was the best incident of the game so far. Wonderful clearance off the line. Really looked as though Foster had got it. Stevens cross, and then off the line, and it was Dean who cleared it. Corner kick is the outcome. Superb bit of covering back by the number 9. What a good clearance when Norwich were in trouble. Barham. Van Wyk losing out to Smiley, who loses it in his turn, and that was played by a Brighton player, and here's Birchin through. Stopped by Mosley. Got too close to the goalkeeper and gave Mosley a chance, and that really should have been put away. Credit to Mosley, who had a very difficult job to do then. He had a long way to come off his line, and Birchin should have been able to slip him. So we've got a free kick, but a narrow escape now at each end in quick succession. Mosley comes and doesn't meet it, and again Birchin misses, that time by inches. Free kick played, Birchin up well, and that was close. Keith Birchin, 10 goals this season, tremendous enthusiasm, great battler. Robinson, Ritchie, Simons, and there is the half-time whistle. Chances at both ends. Keith Birchin will certainly be wondering about the one he missed. Steve Foster in the number 5 shirt will be ruining that brilliant clearance by John Dean that robbed him of a goal. So, although we've had excitement, we've also had tension, we've had a lot of stoppages. 29 free kicks in the first half tell their own story. When you add in the goal kicks and the throw-ins, it's not entirely surprising that there's not been a great deal of pattern. But at the moment, both sides still cling to dreams of a place in the semi-final. At half-time, Brighton 0, Norwich 0. Between two very old rivals. Brighton, in fact, have played Norwich City more often than they've played any other club. They're rivals going back to Southern League days. Watson's header came through to Dean. Now it's Birchin. Norwich are going to make a substitution just in the corner of the picture there. You saw Van Wyk go off, and Mick Maguire comes on in his place. Maguire kept out by Peter Mendham's form. Last appearance in the first team was against Nottingham Forest nearly 3 months ago. It's Downs. And Birchin. Birchin's been in the action a lot. Norwich are going to make a substitution. Just in the corner of the picture there, you saw Van Wyk go off, and Mick Maguire comes on in his place. Maguire kept out by Peter Mendham's form. Last appearance in the first team was against Nottingham Forest nearly 3 months ago. It's Downs. And Birchin's been in the action a lot. Gatting wins the throw. Case. Now Ritchie, challenged by Watson. Foster. Ramsey. Foster has gone down holding his head after a collision with Birchin. It's like a cut that Steve Foster has suffered. I'd be very surprised if he goes off. He's not that kind of player. Mike Yaxley, the Brighton physio, having a look at it. He's got something of mixed feelings about this game, Mike Yaxley, because he was born and brought up in Norwich. You can see the collision that caused the cut. Yes, Foster caused his own problem. It's the follow-through as he headed away. He's a tough lad. Now Downs. Dean, good shot and a good save. And then Bowen, then off the line, and again. Now Downs. Brighton were lucky to escape there. Mosley using hands and legs, and then support behind him when it looked as though Norwich were bound to score. So that's both teams who've had a clearance off the line in that goal mouth. Norwich in the first half, now Brighton. Mosley didn't get the punch, but I think Foster got the header. Downs in, Foster clears. Well, this gives us a chance to have a look again at that escape that Brighton had a minute or two ago. Dean bearing in, Mosley making a good save, and his feet hook it out of the way of Birchin. Barham's shot, and a clearance off the line. Not sure whether it was Stevens or Gatting, but I think it was Gatting. Stevens. Case, can he get through here? Ref did that. No! Will it count? The referee has given it, and the linesman has taken down his flag. Dean is pointing at the linesman who raised his flag and then took it down. The linesman put his flag up and then took it down, and the referee has come to have a word with him now. The goal stands. I suspect that what the linesman flagged for was for a foul on Case. And so the advantage was applied and the goal stands. Header on by Robinson. Case now going through. Linesman thought there was a foul there. Referee let him go, and the goal counts. Brighton 1, Norwich 0, and this is something that Brighton has never savoured. Barham for Birchin's head, but it was Stevens who cleared. Now it's Downs. That was a good shot, and it was a good save too, because the ball swerved a lot in the air, and Mosley did very well to hold that. Set up here for Greg Downs. Left foot swinging, and a good save. Gatting. Grealish. Smiley. Shot hit Downs. Grealish again. but there'll be no more. Brighton have won. Jimmy Melia and George Aiken embrace, and for the first time in their history, Brighton go to the semi-final of the FA Cup, and it was a touch of Merseyside magic. The management of Jimmy Melia and the finishing of Jimmy Case that did the trick. Brighton 1, Norwich City 0.
So smiles on the south coast to match the sunshine, and why not? The first time in their history, Brighton in the semi-finals. And what a contrast in the Norwich camp. They felt the Brighton winner should not have been allowed, and Ken Brown, usually the most cheerful of men, was the man to make that point on behalf of his team.
Very, very disappointed. Very disappointed in the way the goal was conceded. I thought we were conned out of it by an old pro, if you like, in Jimmy Case.
Well, we can show you the goal again, and you can perhaps tell us what you mean here.
And as the ball's headed on there now, from there, our fellow's got the ball, and now he's pulled him back. He's literally pulled him back to get the ball.
Do you think, in fact, that there was contact then when he tried to make the tackle?
Who? With who?
Your defender.
What if it was? Then it was a foul.
Yeah.
And that's perhaps what the linesman's done it for. So it should have blown it one way or the other. But in our view, he's pulled our player back.
Did the referee say anything to the players by way of explanation?
No, I don't think he has to, does he? I think he's just gone ahead and gave the goal. He's allowed it. I asked him afterwards, and he said, no, it was a perfectly good goal. That was it.
Our last word tonight reflects that last dramatic instruction at Old Trafford this afternoon. Lou Macari flung on as a substitute for Manchester United 2 minutes into injury time. As a matter of interest, it was precisely 36 seconds from the moment he went on to the moment he set up that winner for Frank Stapleton. A little bit of FA Cup history from us all. Good night.
Here's Macari again for Stapleton.